All right, so now it is time to do the side seams of your apron. So this is the piece that you need for your apron side, and it's also the straps. So it's the side seam and the straps all in one. And can you see that that is the wrong side of the fabric? So you want this kind of raised side to be your right side. So we're going to put the right sides together. So we're going to put this side here, and we're going to put pins down this way, and I'm going to do that. I have pinned the side seam. Okay, so there's about 4 pins in there. You're going to start here and go all the way. Remember, pins around the way that you're going to sew, so the heads of the pins are facing you. You're going to reverse here, and you're going to reverse at the end. And I've done it, I've pinned it to both sides. So both the side panels are pinned on, and I'm going to sew them with straight stitch now. Okay, so we've put it in. We're going to sew it just a side seam. Remember, 1.5 centimeters always. So this is the 1.5 centimeter mark on your strike plate. So line it up there, put your needle in, take out the pin, 3 steps forward, 3 steps back, and then sew all the way to the end. So there's the trim seam. Okay, so it's about 1 centimeter wide now, and I'm going to change my setting up here to 7 to do the zigzag. And we're going to zigzag in between this edge here and really close to the edge of the fabric. So you want to lower your machine needle, your foot down, and we're going to, you don't need to reverse the zigzag, but can you see I'm going right along the edge, and this will actually seal the edge of your fabric and stop it from fraying. Okay, it's really important to do this when you have an open seam in a garment. A piece of clothing, which is what a garment means. Okay, so you need to just sew the zigzag all the way to the end on both sides. So I've done the side seam, remembering to do my reverse here and my reverse at this end. Now what we're going to do is we're going to trim the seam a little bit, not a lot. We're not going to trim much of it off. We're just going to get rid of all of the slightly ratty ends. So about 1 centimeter. So you want to just cut this part off, because we're going to zigzag inside that seam. So between here and here is where you're going to zigzag to machine neaten. Okay, so I'll do that, and then I'll show you how to do the zigzag. So there's the trim seam. Okay, so it's about 1 centimeter wide now, and I'm going to change my setting up here to 7 to do the zigzag. And we're going to zigzag in between this edge here and really close to the edge of the fabric. So you want to lower your machine needle, your foot down, and we're going to, you don't need to reverse the zigzag, but can you see I'm going right along the edge, and this will actually seal the edge of your fabric and stop it from fraying. Okay, it's really important to do this when you have an open seam in a garment. A piece of clothing, which is what a garment means. Okay, so you need to just sew the zigzag all the way to the end on both sides. This is your finished seam. We have the zigzag all the way to the end. You don't need to reverse zigzag, it's not necessary, it locks itself in. But what we need to do now is we need to iron this flat, and we need to push that seam towards the inside of your apron, because we're going to top stitch on the outside. We're going to top stitch here so that this seam sits nice and flat. I'll iron it, and then I'll show you how to do this top. You want to make sure when you iron it open and flat that you get it really flat, that you're actually able to see the stitching through there. So can you see that you can see the stitches? You need to be able to, so it needs to be really flat. And we're actually going to sew on the pocket side, just on this edge here. Okay, you're going to line it up on the foot with that little line in the middle of the foot pedal, in the middle of the presser foot, and you're going to sew a straight stitch seam down there, and that will keep it all sitting nice and neat. This is the top stitch. It looks really good on this side and it's nice and flat, and it keeps your seam sitting nice and flat on the back, so it just doesn't look lumpy. It's just a nice smooth look. So you need to remember to take it back to 1. Okay, and so we're going to come back here and we're going to line it up so that that little line on the foot goes along your seam. Can you see that? So your little line, whoop, there it is. There is along the line of your seam. And once again, we're going to reverse stitch at both ends. So we're going to just start off and then we're going to go back. Right, and then we're going to slowly just sew along that line. Keep it in line. So you want a nice straight, you want it nice and straight as you sew up the side seam. And this will make it sit nice and flat. You see how nice that looks at the back? Okay, and we're going to do both sides. This is the top stitch. It looks really good on this side and it's nice and flat, and it keeps your seam sitting nice and flat on the back, so it just doesn't look lumpy. It's just a nice smooth look.